The film opens by showing Firmos North in 1857. At that time, a Danish ship on an expedition to the North Pole was trapped in the middle of the Antarctic Ice Sea. A crew member named Larsen reported to the captain, Captain Anderson, that the rest of the crew were unable to continue the journey. However, Captain Anderson chose to proceed with the expedition. As night fell, Larsen reported to the captain that there was an explosion sound not far from their location. Captain Anderson, along with several crew members, went to investigate the source of the explosion and found Victor Frankenstein, who was severely injured. Victor had lost a lot of blood, and he even wore a prosthetic leg. For humanitarian reasons, Victor was finally taken aboard the ship to be treated. Not long after, a huge, physical being, which seemed to be targeting Victor, appeared. Captain Anderson and the crew tried to shoot the creature. However, it turned out that the creature had regeneration abilities, so even though it was shot many times, it was still able to get up. In an instant, the creature was able to kill several crew members who tried to stop it. Captain Anderson immediately rushed over to Victor and asked what kind of creature was after Victor and what its purpose was. Before Victor could answer, Larsen immediately shot the creature, causing it to fall off the ship. Believing the creature had been killed, the crew felt relieved for a moment. However, that feeling immediately vanished upon learning that the creature could not die because of its regeneration ability. When the creature tried to overturn the ship, Captain Anderson shot towards the ice surface, successfully making the creature sink into the extremely cold ice sea. After his condition began to improve, this is where Victor finally told Captain Anderson everything. Victor explained that he was the creature's creator and he was determined to give his life for the creature to atone for all his crimes. All of this stemmed from Victor's childhood. He grew up as the eldest son of a prominent doctor at the time. His successful and reputable father prepared Victor rigorously to become a doctor like himself. Because of this, young Victor was much closer to his mother. His father rarely came home due to work, and when he was home, Victor often heard arguments between his mother and father rather than feeling family warmth. One day, Victor's mother went into labor as she was about to give birth to their second child. His mother's condition was very severe, and she finally passed away while giving birth to their second child, who was named William. His mother's death was a heavy blow to Victor. Unlike the grieving Victor, William grew up very well and lacked no affection from their father. His mother's death made Victor disappointed in his father because he believed his father, a renowned doctor, intentionally allowed his wife to die. Because of his father's failure that led to his mother's death, Victor conceived an idea to conquer death and become a better surgeon than his father. After his father's death, Victor and William lived separately. William lived with a family in Vienna, while Victor continued his studies in Edinburgh. After several decades, Victor finally became a genius surgeon. On that day, he presented the results of his experiments before professors and guests at the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. In the session, Victor presented the results of his experiment, where he was able to reanimate pieces of dead bodies by connecting all the nerves, muscles, and ligaments. Who would have thought Victor was able to prove his theory, even though the professors considered Victor's experiment to be immoral, atrocious, and blasphemy against God?
It's not you, however, the flow of energy. Please.
Among the session participants was a weapon merchant and former surgeon named Henrik Harlander, who was interested in Victor's experiment. After the event was over, Harlander immediately went to meet Victor. Harlander then said that he got Victor's business card from William, Victor's younger brother, who would soon marry Harlander's niece, Elizabeth. Interested in Victor's experiment, Harlander offered a collaboration. Harlander would provide unlimited resources along with an abandoned tower that would be used as the place for the experiment. After that, Victor finally met his younger brother William after being separated for years. William then introduced his fiancée, Lady Elizabeth, who was also Harlander's niece. Upon seeing her, Victor was immediately impressed by Elizabeth's beauty. Moreover, Elizabeth was not only beautiful, but also a smart girl. A few weeks later, Victor, William, and Harlander visited the abandoned tower that would be used as the experiment site. Before starting the experiment, Victor asked William for help to build a laboratory inside the tower, and every tool used had to be according to Victor's wishes. Not only that, the corpses that would be used as subjects for the experiment were also chosen directly from the body parts of criminals who were hanged and soldiers who died in the war. While William was busy building the laboratory, Victor spent a lot of time with Elizabeth, William's fiancée, and he began to fall in love with her. However, because Victor and Elizabeth had different views on life, their feelings for each other eventually had to be buried deeply. After that, the experiment process finally began. Victor started cutting parts of the corpses and assembling them all into one intact body. Next, Victor would use an electric current through the lymphatic system to generate energy for the heart and brain, and he prepared to harness lightning during a storm as his energy source. Moments before the experiment began, Victor discovered that Harlander was dying from the syphilis he suffered from. This turned out to be the main reason why Harlander was so interested in Victor's experiment. He pleaded with Victor to place him in a new body. However, Victor refused because he was sure that Harlander's entire body was already contaminated by his disease. Because Victor refused, Harlander tried to sabotage the experiment. Unfortunately, this caused Harlander to fall from the top of the tower, and he ended up dead.
We have nothing! We both lose!
In the end, the experiment still proceeded, even though Victor had not perfectly prepared everything. Lightning then struck the device installed at the top of the tower and electrocuted the experiment subject. After seeing no reaction from the experiment subject, Victor thought his experiment had failed. The next morning, Victor woke up to find his creation alive. Just like a baby, the creature knew nothing and could not speak. Victor began to introduce the world to him and taught him to say the name Victor. Unfortunately, Victor had never thought about what he would do after the creature was brought to life. After weeks, Victor felt exhausted because he had to constantly take care of the creature. He became emotional because the creature still showed no intellectual development, and the only word he learned was Victor. However, one thing was certain: the creature had a very strong body and was equipped with regeneration capabilities, so if he was injured, his wounds would close in an instant. Because there was no news from Harlander, Elizabeth and William went to Victor's tower to look for him. Upon arriving, Victor did not tell them about Harlander's death and said that Harlander was not there. Elizabeth then approached the underground room where the creature was chained. Elizabeth's kindness was able to calm the creature because her attitude was very different from Victor's, who tended to be harsh. Elizabeth felt sorry for the creature because he was not treated well. Elizabeth's kindness to the creature was then misinterpreted by Victor. He assumed that Elizabeth had feelings for the creature, while Victor himself had been rejected by Elizabeth. Because of this jealousy, Victor became increasingly harsh towards the creature. He beat the creature repeatedly until the creature got angry and showed his strength. The next day, Victor showed Harlander's corpse to William and said that the creature had killed Harlander. Increasingly frustrated with the creature's lack of intellectual development and fearing the threat he posed, Victor planned to burn his laboratory with the creature inside.
After the tower caught fire, Victor had a change of heart after hearing the creature scream his name. But it was too late. Victor was then thrown against a rock while trying to get back into the tower, and that was when Victor lost one of his legs. Returning to the present, after Victor finished telling everything to Captain Anderson, the creature managed to get out of the ice sea and return to hunt Victor. This time, the creature managed to break into the ship and met Victor face to face. Knowing that Victor had told everything, it was now the creature's turn to tell everything from his perspective. When the fire occurred, the creature managed to save himself by exiting through the sewage drain. After regaining consciousness, the creature found himself alone and cold in the middle of the forest. He walked through the forest and was shot by hunters. The creature then fled from the hunters and took refuge in a nearby farm hut. The next day, the owners of the hut finally arrived, but the creature remained hidden in the storage shed while observing the owners of the hut. Every day, the creature watched an old man who was blind teaching his grandchild to read. The creature secretly always helped the man and his family, from gathering wood to building a sheep pen for them. The family thanked the creature and considered him a forest spirit. One day, several wolves came to hunt the sheep at the family's house. The father then grabbed his rifle and shot the pack of wolves. The creature witnessed this from a hole in the wall. From that incident, the creature concluded that neither wolves nor humans hated each other, but that was just the way the world worked. You would be hunted and killed simply because of who you are. In a few days, winter would arrive. All family members left for the winter except for the old blind man. The creature then dared to approach the old man. Unexpectedly, the old man welcomed the creature warmly. From that day on, they became friends. The old man taught the creature to read and speak fluently. The first book he read was the story of Adam and Eve. Day after day passed. The creature returned to Victor's laboratory and found the experiment notes and the address of Victor's plantation. After returning to the farm, the creature found that the old man had been attacked by a pack of wolves. The creature was very angry and brutally killed the wolves. The dying old man comforted the creature and said that the creature was a good person and his friend. After the old man took his last breath, the hunters misunderstood and assumed the creature had killed the old man. Realizing he could not die and would spend his life alone, the creature met Victor on the night of William and Elizabeth's wedding.
The creature then demanded that Victor create a companion to accompany him, like Adam and Eve. Hearing this, Victor immediately refused. He clearly regretted the creation of the creature and considered him a monster, so it was impossible for him to create another monster.
Hearing the commotion, Elizabeth entered Victor's room. Victor tried to shoot the creature, but Elizabeth blocked the bullet with her body. Victor lied, saying that the creature had attacked Elizabeth. William and several guards tried to fight the creature, but they were easily defeated. Seriously injured, the creature carried Elizabeth's body, who asked to be taken away. On the other hand, the dying William confessed that he was always afraid of Victor, and in his final words, William said that Victor was the monster. Meanwhile, the creature brought Elizabeth to a cave in a critical condition. After Elizabeth expressed her feelings for the creature, she finally died. Victor then came to the cave to hunt the creature. Willingly, the creature wanted to surrender his life and join Elizabeth. However, his wish could not come true because Victor gave him a life he did not want. The creature then broke Victor's nose and warned Victor that he would now retaliate for everything Victor had done to him. For days, Victor prepared weapons to hunt the creature. When the creature met Victor, he tortured Victor and took dynamite to blow himself up. So that was the explosion that Captain Anderson's crew had heard earlier. And that was when Victor was found and finally saved. At the end of his life, Victor apologized for his cruelty and called the creature his son. Hearing this, the creature chose to reconcile with his life and forgive Victor. After forgiving Victor and Victor passed away, the creature pushed the ship out of the ice. Thanks to the creature's help, Captain Anderson stopped the mission and told his crew that they were going home. The creature watched the ship sail towards the sunrise, then reached out to embrace the sunlight as Victor had once taught him, and the film finally ended.